Hey guys, today we're in the book of 1 Chronicles chapter 18. Now that the ark is back in Jerusalem, David's reign really starts to take off. And we see that here today. Notice it says, and David defeated the Philistines and subdued them. He took Gath and its villages out of the hand of the Philistines. Now remember, the Philistines have been problems to Israel for a long time. But you can remember, even in David's reign or before his reign, the Philistines took over a lot of Israel. Now we see that David has conquered the Philistines, he subdued them, and now he's taking back the Philistine cities. He's taking back the places of Israel where they live, and he's pushing them out all the way. Not only did he defeat those major cities of the Philistines, which is kind of like central Israel, but he defeats Moab, which is modern day Jordan. So that's the southeastern side of Israel. He defeats Moab so bad that they bring him tribute. He gets spoils of the war. And then we also see in verse 3 that he defeats Hadaezer. And so that is the king of Syria. And so now he's beating the north and northeast of Israel, right? So notice in verse 3, he says, and he went to set up his monument at the river of Euphrates. And so here, what's happening, if you had a map and you look, the kingdom of Israel is expanding rapidly. In just a few years, it expands rapidly, goes. Not only is it going farther to the east, but it is going to the north as well as the south. And we see there's some spoils of the war there. You got chariots, horsemen. Notice verse 4, though. It's interesting. He said, and David hamstrung all the chariot horses, which means he cuts the back of their legs. He doesn't kill them, but they won't be able to run, walk, or pull anymore. But notice what it says, that he, all the chariot horses, but left enough for 100 chariots. So he left enough horses to pull 100 chariots. This shows a great deal of trust in the Lord, right? If you were going to wipe them off the earth, you would kill them all, but he doesn't. He holds back and he trusts the Lord. So he allows them a few chariots, but not a whole army's worth. He puts garrisons, which is jails in Syria. Verse 6, it says they become their servants. Notice verse 7, he takes the shields of gold, which we read about Solomon using these shields of gold, but David takes them. Not only is that, but he takes, verse 8, huge amounts of bronze. And these are, it tells us a little note, that Solomon took this bronze, this huge amount of bronze, and made the bronze sea, which is the bronze kind of bird bath that they wash their hands in, as well as the humongous pillars of the temple. And not only that, but then we have Tal, the king of Amath. He sends his son to be trained and to love on, which is very kind of common in those days. If there was a good king and he was doing very well, other nations would send their sons to basically school under that king. So they would see a good king, a good kingdom, so that when they decide to be king and they come back home, they would become better kings, right? So kind of like a boarding school for the princes of all the nations around. Not only that, verse 10, we see that we get tons of gold, silver, bronze, and we ultimately see that David defeated Edom, Moab, the Ammonites, the Philistines, and the Machilites, right? So he totally expands the kingdom. But as you kept reading, you notice it says the Lord gave, the Lord gave, the Lord gave, the Lord gave, right? The chronicler wants to make sure that they remember this was not by the power of David. It was only by the power of God. And so verse 14, David reigned over all of Israel, and he administered justice and equality to all, or equity all to all his people. And then he lists some people that kind of help him, his cabinet members, basically. And so here, once again, what do we see David in the past? David is a king that will expand the kingdom. He will do what is right. He will administer justice and equality to all people. And so as we're looking forward now, because this is all historical, right? This has all happened in the past. But when we're looking for the new David, looking for the Messiah, we're looking for one who is a conqueror, one who will expand the kingdom of Israel, one who will bring justice and equity to all people. And so you necessarily don't see that on the first coming of Jesus. But as we continue to read the Bible, we see that so much in the second coming of Jesus. And that's where mainly Israel had it wrong, right? They were expecting all this new David to do it on the first coming, right? They expected the Messiah to come, and he will come, and he will do everything that Israel expected him to do, but it wasn't on his first coming, it was on his second coming. There was a need for death, burial, and resurrection. There was a need for the suffering servant. There was a need to remove our sin so that we could be united with God's holiness, so that we could enjoy the second coming, the justice, the equality, the expanding of the kingdom, the peace, all the things that Jesus brings in Revelation that we see. And so they're looking for the right person, and they're looking for the right thing, but they're looking at the wrong time. So I hope that makes a little bit more sense when we think about how did the Jews miss it? Well, they were looking for an all-in-one person, and it's really a two-in-one. Jesus' first coming and Jesus' second coming. So I hope that makes a little bit more sense, and we'll see you tomorrow in chapter 19. God bless.